is by far the most qualified to create his signature brand of epic psychopathic songs with his guitar turned on. His songs are more beautiful than what Steve Howe has put out over the past 8 or 9 years. When he first formed King Crimson in 1972, Jeff "Skunk" Baxter was still the #1 guitarist in the group. But then Baxter left to create a band called Steely Dan. Fripp continued with the original saxophonist Melvin Ray Collins, who could play some serious notes almost like a young John Coltrane, or not quite as ambitious as Eric Dolphy. When bassist Boz Burrell became infected with a blues-funk virus, he was unable to perform each show during the 1972 American tour. It was in Jacksonville that Robert Fripp became a true, actual god of music. Additionally, the Frank Zappa Ensemble was also on tour promoting the 1972 album Cream of Filth with Terry Bozzio on drums and Kentucky Gargoyles bassist Vince Highcliffe, which however did not complete the double album when Freddie Mercury and Peter Gabriel canceled their show at Wembley Forum in July of 1973. While Fripp played on Pink Floyd's album Metal, he was not willing to tear apart King Crimson just to be in the same band as Nick Mason. When Bill Bruford performed his first solo album with Chad Wackerman and Alan Holdsworth on the guitar, this would be the nucleus, a new supergroup. Now, I want to take a moment to just dive right into some of Robert Fripp's influences. He has said on record several times that for Robert Johnson was the first and foremost guitar in his portfolio of interests. Tag insane. Fripp can elsewhere be seen to have on a Steve Hackett t-shirt, which has been nicely autographed by the artist himself. By and large, the perceived release of Lark's Tongues in Aspic would be delayed for almost 7 months due to a reconstruction of the gatefold packaging. And oh my god, the crimson medallion in the middle of the record made mine skip backwards the first time I played it. Consequently, I always remembered to play Fracture Me at the absolute highest volume available for 3 years or more. Holy cow, it was unbelievable. These songs get just trapped in my head, and that's all I can think about sometimes. Even Peter Sinfield, who wrote the chord progression for Tale of Two Cities and The Waking of Poseidon, the consensus attitude heretofore, examined in subsequent prog rock royalty, became what is known as post-punk. Lethargy insiders agree. Therefore, what I'm about to tell you is not only 100% true, it is also an invaluable resource in the study of several other guitarists, not to mention Steve Howe and Matthew Howard Stull. One this you have to remember is that Robert Fripp designed Cat Food to be a whole album, not just one song on Wake of Poseidon. He has been quoted as saying that it was Greg Lake's favorite song to sing while on tour in Wormhole in Electric Dream Wonderland Enchantment. How did these songs get all on the same album? Is Island supposed to be a double album? You've got to be kidding me. Wait a minute. Did the second album get released yet? Where are outtakes from those studio sessions, babe? So anyway, back to Fripp's influences. He can really sound like B.B. King sometimes when the blues gets heavy and when Boz starts to really chugga on that bass. He can really thump a bass when the chips are down. I have a bootleg from San Francisco in the early 70s, and let me confirm for you that Boz Burrell was one of the top bassists along with Paul McCartney and Phil Lesh of the Grateful Dead. If you know about the Dead, then you'll know how many shows with Fripp and Garcia Duel on guitars. When King Crimson agreed to cover Dark Star on the 1973 German tour, Fripp's guitar can be heard to be shredding out viciously, almost like a helicopter in a hailstorm. He does not care if he gives anyone deep trauma from his guitar solo. And he sounds as if exactly as would later sound if Jerry Garcia was in the room and not playing in his own solo unit outfit. That being said, it was John Lennon who taught Robert Fripp the double-cross picking technique that appears in such delightful tunes such as Fracture and Lament. Each of these numbers is crystallized in the box set featuring live shows from Amsterdam and Medwood. All of these are hand-selected remaster files from the heart of the sunrise, and I kid you not, there is nothing more terrifying than remastering 2 albums in one day where you have to make sure that every single note is audible on easy money, and you just hope that John Wetton's voice is up to the challenge of some of those high notes. And you're anything like me, you are just on the floor with your jaw dangling with how heavy and mysterious the band could be on almost any given night. But I digress a little bit here, without even getting into the details of Better Buck Tuck's voice string quartet. Man, that thing just gives me the serious chills. Before I even get a chance to enjoy it, someone is trying to get me to listen to some Charlie Parker stuff with his alto saxophone. I get dizzy trying to keep it all together. But at the end of the day, all you really want is a full acoustic version of Locks and Tongues in Aspect Part 2, with Jamie Muir playing a bandana, or a xylophone at full volume in a truly organic setting without blood capsules or the demonic scowl from the television series. Let me tell you emphatically, you cannot make this stuff up. I know because I have the bootleg from Bremen and from Hamburg, and also one from Geneva, Switzerland, when the band first played Book of Saturday. Then again, in 1983, when Robert Fripp met Adrian Belew for the first time, it would lead to one of their best albums by King Crimson. And this album would eventually be titled Thrack. The right thrack. Say it with me now if you can. One more time. Thrack. I truly enjoy them so much. And believe it or not, but Tony Levin also makes an appearance on bass, along with a drummer called Pat Mastelotto. This lineup was pure straight fire on a tightrope. They can dazzle you with harmonic symphonies, like this one magical song named Dinosaur. I like how the song is similar to another track they did called Circus. It has a similar feel to a long green lizard from 1971. And with Fro Tall finally taking over some of the flute responsibilities, it gave Fripp more room for his masterful plan. If Jethro couldn't play flute on Lizard, then the whole stack of cards may have crumbled, and the lead bass couldn't be played by John Wetton at this time. Consequently, and without remorse, the triple duo was fully ready to take over the world by the mid-90s. And then they could frack out anyone they dreamed of, leaving Robert Fripp to take care of the Frippatronics, which were gaining in popularity in Japan and elsewhere. Plus, with Jerry Garcia and Frank Zappa having passed away, there was more than ample evidence that Fripp was the pure god of progressive rock guitar against someone like Steve Howe, or Steve Hackett, who could not perform an Anderson, Wakeman, Howe, Bruford, Squire without severing a contract with Geffen Records, who at the time had the entire Emerson, Lake, and Palmer catalog on sale to Warner, that is, if even Dental failed to produce 3 more books. That's for Foreigner. Clearly hear the box set in Central Park when they played 21st Century Schizoid Man that Peter Sinfield was not at this time managing to secure a position with the lighting crew. And now the duty to perform this became into conflict when John McLaughlin formed an outfit called Mahavishnu Orchestra in 1978, drummer and bassist becoming more famous in the subsequent years. Notwithstanding, the band received a full standing ovation when Birds of Fire was the set opener, but King Crimson would also be known for a famous show in Central Park when they shredded the whole audience in half with a devastating version of Starless, which remains one concert which has lived in my memory all this time. My God, you age. Don't take my word for it. I've met Robert Fripp, and he is a lovely chap with strong hands. Don't take my word for it. I've met Robert Fripp, and he is a lovely chap with strong hands.